Okay, hello folks, and welcome to what is going to be a discussion video about the last session of Let's Play Until Dawn. So if you haven't seen Let's Play Until Dawn parts 14 and 15, do not watch this, because there will be spoilers in it obviously. Go and watch those two parts first, then come back to this video. This will be put in the playlist of the LP itself. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because I was so frustrated after the last session, and so many things were just running through my mind about the whole thing. This game has got me absolutely gripped at the moment. I've gone away, played football, come back and thought, I've got some things to address here. The way I'm thinking about things. So here we go. Two people died in the last session. One of them was a bit of a slow finger moment from me. That's by the by, could hardly help it. But the second one was much more of a conscious decision. Bad decision? Some would say so. So I'm going to address both deaths and give you my take on them. From a gameplay perspective and from a storytelling perspective. So here we go. First of all, Chris's death. Very, very tragic. Very horrific. Head sliced off. Very awful. Awful. But, and that was due, now I'm not taking the entire, I'm taking some blame of course, but I'm not taking the entire blame. I did say that these inverse controls that or the normal controls, up to go up and down to go down in terms of aiming and camera controls, has me completely baffled from the start. I've been a player in every third-person game and every first-person game that requires aiming or camera movement. From day one, I've always had inverse controls. It's just the way it is. And it's second nature. And I knew when somebody said in the first video, when I made a comment, that if I have to do this aiming with normal controls and I can't inverse them, in the heat of the moment, something's going to go wrong. And somebody said, oh boy, I can't wait to see what happens. And I knew from that point that something was going to involve me having to make a quick reaction with aiming. And this was it, wasn't it? This was proof of the pudding. So the developers of the game are taking part responsibility for Chris's death in this one, for not giving me inverse controls. But I'm taking part of the blame as well, because looking back at the video, I chose to aim, I think it was a generator off to the right hand side. I chose to aim at the right hand side when the camera on the crosshairs automatically aimed really close to the jumping creature that was lunging towards me, and all I had to do was move up and slightly to the left and shoot, and I shot it. I had plenty of time to do that, but no, I decided to move to the generator, which is further away to aim at. Why aim there? We can aim over here. Stupid. So yeah, but that's what the heat of the moment does to you, and a bit of panic, and as a result of that we lost Chris. So yeah, I take a bit of blame for being stupid in aiming at the thing that was furthest away from what was attacking me, but I'm also blaming some of the developers as well for not giving us that inverse controls. So that's the gameplay perspective of this. But what about the storytelling perspective? Now, before I go into any storytelling for both deaths, first of all, how many LPs have you watched of this? And have you played the game yourself? And in those LPs that you've watched, or the game that you've played yourself, have you achieved an almost perfect ending? You know, have you saved most people, if it's possible? Have you saved everybody, if it's possible? I would reckon that most of you probably have either seen that or experienced it. So what's wrong with watching an LP where everyone ends up dead, or most people end up dead? It'd be something different, wouldn't it? It'd be very tragic. I think that's not a bad thing. I mean, I feel awful, and I want to see a perfect ending, so I'm going to have to watch an LP where people don't die. But from a gameplay, from a story perspective, having people tragically die, I think it's quite good, actually, in a sick kind of way. Especially with Chris. You know, loves young Dream. You know, him and Ashley, friends for so long, both feelings for each other, never got round to telling each other until 0 hour. And then they share that first kiss, and he's going to save his friend. I'll be back soon, he says. Walks off with this stranger, and then moments later, head off, rolls in front of Ashley. Pretty much, you know, right there and then. Tragic. Tragic indeed. But who wants a happy ending where they both escape alive and have kids together? Come on. This is far better. So that's how I'm looking at it. So that's the first death. Sick, I know, it's sick way to think of things, but there you go. It's almost like if this was not a game where you had an influence over decisions and it was just simply a movie that you were watching, this way of Chris's death happening at that precise moment would have been perfect. Perfect to just to kick those romantics of you out there in the guts. Just to make you feel that extra pang of emotional sadness. You can imagine the hankies being blown in the cinemas right now. So that's the first death dealt with. I'm trying to look at it from a storytelling standpoint, and it makes a brilliant story as far as I'm concerned. So then we move on to Emily then. Emily's death. Now this is much less of a quick time mistake and more of a conscious decision to shoot her in the head. Now there was 3 pieces of evidence that I noticed, or I could tell, after looking back at things, not in the heat of the moment, that pointed towards us not pulling the trigger. The first piece of evidence, rather compelling of course, the death totem that she found, that showed her getting shot in the head by Mike, as we found out. We knew it was Mike before it happened. So if we're trying to actively avoid those premonitions happening, the simple solution would have been not to shoot her. Second piece of evidence, we found a fortune totem in the mines with Emily that very session that showed Mike holding a revolver and then, pulling it away and sort of like, almost like couldn't pull the trigger sort of thing. He was like torn. But that was under fortune, which suggests that's a good thing. So don't pull the trigger. 2 pieces of evidence. The third, very subtle piece of evidence, I think, is the fact that we gave the flare gun to Matt, and we did that because a guidance totem told us to do that. So if a guidance totem told us to give the gun away, and a butterfly effect told us that we got bitten with Emily because we gave the flare gun away, would the game make Emily turn or die or kill everyone as a result of that? No, because the game told us to give the flare gun away, so it must be that even, logic would deduce that because the game guidance totem told us to give the flare gun away, which made us get bitten, that cannot be a bad thing. So 3 pieces of evidence there saying, don't shoot her, don't shoot her. So why did we shoot her? And the more I think about it, as sick as it sounds, I think it's subconsciously or consciously because I didn't like her. That must be it. If Sam was sat there in the same position, or Ashley was sat there in the same position, would I have pulled the trigger? Probably not. So, I think that must be the only reason. It must be. I told you I didn't like her from the start, didn't I? But I didn't expect to have to kill her myself with a revolver in the eye. Graphic. So there you go. I just thought I'd share that little bit of information with you. I think from a storytelling perspective, Mike shot her ex-girlfriend. Very tough decision. But he's been a very matter-of-fact person about this. He's been quite level-headed. Chopped his fingers off, didn't panic. He's stepping up to the plate. He's on Mikey. I'm liking him now. Not just because he's killed Emily. And then also, I think that I like to roleplay in certain things, and this wasn't necessarily a roleplay decision, but if I look at it from a roleplayer's standpoint, these guidance totems, these totems that we're finding, I'm thinking it's to guide me as a player to make the right decisions, to get that perfect ending. I don't think, and I don't envisage these totem pieces actually being part of the story for the characters. So even though the character's looking at a totem, a death totem, a lost totem, and seeing what's happening on it, I don't think they're actually seeing it. It's just a mechanism to give us guidance as a player. So if you completely obliterate all the totem pieces because the in-game characters don't see them, it's just for our benefit, would Mike know at that particular moment that Emily was fine, that she wasn't going to turn? He wouldn't know, because all the evidence that pointed towards her not turning was given in totem pieces, which I am assuming, or I'm taking to be not present for the characters in the game. So, if you look at it from that perspective, he's had to make a tough choice, and he's made it. And it's his ex-girlfriend. Wouldn't have been a very easy decision to make. So there you go. I just think it's quite interesting how much thought this game provokes in the decisions that you make. I mean, you've got split seconds to make it, but then when you go back and analyse things, you look at things and put the story into perspective and put a bit of role playing into things as well, I think it's really great. So anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. Hope you find it interesting. And I'll be playing another session very, very soon, a couple of days or so, and we'll see if I butcher any more decisions and get anyone else killed. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to purposefully kill people or let people die just to create this tragic story. I'm still going to do my best to kill people, to save people. But if people do die, it's worth thinking about it from a different perspective, other than it being a mistake or an error. I'll leave it with you. See you soon.